Aloha! Welcome to demo day for cohort 13 from Blue Startups, all the way from Hawaii. We are so excited to see all of you guys here. Thanks for joining us online. I know it's not as much fun as in person. Next time we'll be dancing hula, drinking Mai Tais, hanging out here in beautiful Hawaii. But for today, we're online and we really appreciate you being here. You guys are in for a big treat. Cohort 13, lucky number 13, has been awesome. I've loved working with them. They are an amazing group. So you're going to be really excited to get to know them today. And I'm so excited to share their progress with you and everything else. Just a little bit detail about the run of the day. So we are going to have our pitches up first. We do have a VC panel. I'll be introducing them shortly, and you'll get to know them a little bit. They're going to be asking the tough questions, although not too tough. I asked them to be not too mean to our entrepreneurs today. And then we will have a few updates from alumni. We have 3 alumni pitches as well. And then at the end of the day, we will have a networking lounge. So do stick around for the networking lounge. Every company will have a table and you can hang out and talk story with them. Super fun in the networking lounge. Hopefully some of you have already experienced the lounge on your way in this morning. So first off, my job today, I'm going to let you in on a little bit more detail about Blue Startups, just in case you're not aware of kind of who we are and our background, what we've been up to. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we're going to go through a little pitch here, which is awesome. Hold on. Oops. Okay. All right. So for those of you who are not familiar with Blue Startups, we do position ourselves as the, looks like my presentation is not happening. Hold on. Let's try that again. Okay. Of course, always something here. Okay, trying again. If not, of course, I can always tell you about Blue Startups without having to show you all this. But it's easier if I can show you this. So let's see if I can get it going. All right. So hopefully you can see that. And so Blue Startups, we position ourselves as the nexus of entrepreneur activity between North America and Asia. So Hawaii being a great place to do that. So what have we done so far? We've actually been in business here for 8 years. We've had 13 cohorts. As I said, this is lucky number 13 today that you're going to hear from. We do 13-week mentorship program, 12 weeks here in Honolulu, and typically 1 week in San Francisco. But this year, we're actually going to go to New York City, which is going to be different and fun. So far, we've invested in 99 companies. And those companies have gone on to raise $330 million in follow-on funding. So we're pretty proud of that track record. Most recently, super proud of our Vanta IPO. I almost said IPA. I want to drink already. All right. I was actually able to go to New York and take part in this IPO, which was amazing. The highlight of my professional life, I'll say. So super proud of Volta. They were in cohort 1. Sectors that we focus on: travel technology, SaaS, and sustainability. And then founders that we focus on: Hawaii first, female-founded companies, and companies bridging between East and West, between Asia and North America. Some of our partners, we would not be here without our partners. The Tetris Company is our primary partner. Hank Rogers and Maya Rogers are my business partners. We simply would not be here without them. HTDC, the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation, huge partner of ours as well. The Ulupono Initiative has also provided us with great support, as well as Servco and Hawaii Angels. And we are a member of the GAN, the Global Accelerator Network, very proud of that, and have been a member of that organization for 8 years. This is a snapshot of our portfolio. Like I said, 99 companies and counting. Here are some of them. Hopefully you recognize some of these names. They are both Hawaii companies and non-Hawaii companies alike, doing great and wonderful things in the world today. Our program, as I mentioned, 12 weeks here in Honolulu. We have 160 mentors in our global network. Our program is basically run on mentor fuel, and it wouldn't exist without the mentors that provide us with all the hands-on help, all volunteer. They do it just for the love of it, and we couldn't do it without them. We invest up to $100,000 in each company, and we introduce them to VCs and investors, hopefully some of you who are on this call. And we do usually a demo day here in Hawaii. This is our Hawaii demo day, and hopefully we'll be in person next year. And usually San Francisco, as I mentioned, we're going to New York this year. We also host the international conference, East Meets West, every year. 500 attendees, 30 more speakers, 2 days of networking and learning in our tropical paradise here in Hawaii. And many, many funders who come to that, representing over $1 billion under management. So that's it. That's Blue Startups. So I'm going to say on with the show. All right. So next up, I'm going to be introducing our VC panel. So they are from all over the place. That's the great thing about online events, right? We get to have VCs from everywhere, which is fantastic. So I'm going to bring them up on stage now and have them introduce themselves. So great. We've got Aubrey and Steve and Ash. I can see all of you. Welcome, welcome. All right. Great to see everybody. All right, Ayush, I see you too. Awesome. Looks like we've got everybody. So we've got a panel of 4. Like I said, they're going to be asking the tough questions today. So I'm going to have Aubrey start. And Aubrey, please just introduce yourself to the audience and a little bit about your fund as well. And then we'll get started.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. Aloha, everyone. And excited to at least virtually pretend like I'm in Hawaii. I'm one of the 3 partners at Alpaca VC. We're a seed stage, early stage focused firm, originally based out of New York. We invest in companies that we say are reshaping technology in the real world. And so what does that mean? That's a pretty broad mandate. That really means we're looking at things that are sort of at the intersection of the digital and physical worlds, where someone is bringing technology to sort of reinvent the way that modern commerce works. And what we say is special about Alpaca is we're all former CEOs, founders, and operators ourselves. So we've all founded and exited businesses. I started a company called Bone Drape and exited to a private equity firm. My other partners did as well. And so we call ourselves Alpaca because we say we are there for our companies through the ups and downs of the startup journey, just like alpacas are. Where, when you're with us, you're part of the herd. We have a portfolio in every fund of only 30 companies because we really like to dig in with our companies, handhold them to the next level, and really bring to bear all of our expertise, all of our networks to help them succeed and get to the next level. So that's Alpaca. We lead and co-lead seeds. Often founders ask what the check size is. Usually a check size is $1 million or $1.5 million. We'll lead or co-lead, like I said, and follow on. So that's the gist. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Aubrey. And Aubrey has come to Hawaii before, and she's participated in our East Meets West program. So we have actually met in person, which is awesome. And she's been a huge supporter of the Hawaii tech scene. So really, really happy to have Aubrey here today. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Agreed. I'm happy to be virtually in Hawaii. So I see stand-up paddle boarders on the back there and diamond heads. So I feel like I'm sort of there. It's good enough. It's a little warm here in Menlo Park, Silicon Valley. So it's a little cold, but getting warmer. But I'm a managing partner and co-founder of Fresco Capital, and we're an early stage fund as well, similar to Alpaca. And we focus on future of work and digital health. And those 2 categories were, pretty boring when we started 7 or 8 years ago, but for obvious reasons are pretty exciting right now. So we've, we really see the innovation that's being driven in the space, due to the crisis, driven by COVID and then the subsequent fallout. but then at the same time, looking at companies that can not only bridge a gap in the short term, but for the long term. And our companies, typically our first check is in a seed, in that $500,000 to $1 million range. And we look for companies that have global business models in those categories. So we're not looking for, the Uber for Hong Kong, place I used to live in. We're looking for, a company in Hong Kong or anywhere else that wants to have the global aspirations of one of the tech companies as well. Myself and I have 3 partners and myself, and we're all former operators. So we bring that to the table, which, I think when we started 7 or 8 years ago was unique in seed. Now it's everyone's, which is what I love. I mean, I feel like entrepreneurs get a lot of support from programs such as Blue Startups, but then also from VCs such as the 4 of us. And I myself have built a number of startups and then, went into investing, which, somehow qualifies me as a VC. I'm still struggling as to why that qualifies me, but at the same time, I'm here. So I guess it's okay. So I'll pass it back off to Yoshino and then go from there.
Awesome. Thank you. And Stephen has also been fortunate enough to come out to Hawaii and participate in East Meets West. So next up, Ash, I'll have you introduce yourself.
Aloha, everyone, and thanks to Yoshino for having me. So I support the venture platform at Extreme Tech Challenge. We're the world's largest purpose-driven startup competition. We were originally founded by Bill, Tighe, and Young Sun, the original investors in Zoom and Canva. And some of our finalists include Bloom Life, Natera, Canva, TidoCare, companies that have raised over $1 billion. I'm also an innovation manager at One Valley, formerly known as GSV Labs. We're a global innovation ecosystem and a pre-seed and seed investor as well. We're industry agnostic. And prior to One Valley and Extreme Tech Challenge, also worked with Plug and Play Ventures, where I invested and supported startups as well as corporate partners in InsurTech and health. And so really excited to learn about the exciting cohort 13 for Blue Startups today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ash. We have so many things in common there. Bill, Tighe, and I, of course, have hung out on Maui during the Mai Tai events. If any of you got a chance to participate in those while they were going on, the kite surfing / VC events on Maui, which were super fun. And actually, GSV was like our first partner in Silicon Valley when we started Blue Startups. So that goes way back. So welcome, Ash. All right, Ayush, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet all of you and very, very happy to be here. I haven't been to East Meets West yet, but I hope to be next year when it's all.
You'll all be invited. You'll all be invited back.
Thank you for that. I'm an investor with Revolution's Rise of the Rest seed fund. We're a Washington, D.C. based venture capital firm founded by Steve Case, who's the founder of AOL. Steve is actually, he was born in Honolulu and is a Hawaiian native. So this is Hawaii, and Blue Startups hold a close place in our heart, and I'm very excited to be here for those reasons. Our Rise of the Rest seed fund is about a 4-year-old fund now. We're in our second $150 million fund. We have about 165 portfolio companies to date. And our whole vision is really based around geography and a geographic thesis that talent is evenly distributed in the United States, but opportunity is not. And so we look for companies that are overlooked, across the country, whether they're in Wichita, Kansas, or Honolulu, Hawaii, or other places where they're entrepreneurs building great companies with really big visions. And we look to support those companies in helping them scale and grow. And so that's our vision. We're agnostic in terms of industry. We invest in everything from enterprise SaaS to ESG to healthcare and beyond. So thank you. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thanks, Ayush. And yes, Steve Case has been a huge supporter of Blue Startups from day one. So we're very thankful to him and the whole Rise of the Rest crew. And hopefully today will give you a good excuse to make your first investment out here. I've been waiting for that.
We've been hoping too.
Yeah, it's going to happen today. All right. Okay, so that's our panel, and we're going to get the pitches underway. So our panel is going to step off stage, and we're going to bring onto stage our first pitch, which is going to be Madi from Mount. Madi, come take the stage.
Thank you so much, Shano. It's great to be here. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen.
Oh, I should say also, as Maddie is sharing her screen, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner of her presentation, there is a button to make it full screen. You're going to want to do that and do it every time. Otherwise, it's very hard to see on this form factor. It's very small. So make sure you hit that full screen button. All right, Maddie, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Madi Rifkin, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mount. We are a software platform that allows you to rent anything at any time to anyone. Now, I know that's really broad, so to bring the focus back, where we are started is within the Airbnb market. Now, the massive problem within the Airbnb market is that the host really only can capitalize on revenue that comes directly from a booking. They can't capitalize on the guests when they're staying at the property and upsell them on experiences like a bike rental, a scooter rental, or even a golf cart rental. But on the flip side, 83% of travelers are actively paying for these upsells. They don't just want a place to stay, they want to experience the local culture and cuisine. And so they're actively going to go to that rental shop next door to get that bike rental. So there's $9.2 billion being left on the table that Airbnb hosts simply cannot access. So Mount built them the platform to allow them to do so. It's a software platform that can take any toy that's in your garage, if you're thinking your bike, your scooter, your golf cart, and it turns it into a rentable amenity. It gets listed, similar to an Airbnb listing, but on the Mount platform, on our app. And then when the guest shows up with the Mount app, they can see everything they possibly could rent. They even pay for it and start and end the rental within our app. Now, Mount is unique because we make offering amenities easy. First, we offer the transactional app. So instead of what they do right now, which is chase the guest down and try and ask for their Venmo, all payments happen through the Mount app. Second, we offer an insurance policy. So Mount, the host, and the renter are all insured during that amenity rental. Lastly, every asset that gets listed on our platform is GPS tracked. So that host has the peace of mind that if they list their golf cart, they know exactly where it is at all times of the day. Now, the Airbnb market is massive. It's a $115 billion industry, but when you look at the amenity portion and what properties are right for that, Mount's initial target market is $1.3 billion. And our business model is quite simple. We have our annual subscription, which charges the host for any asset they list. So any asset that gets on the Mount platform, they're paying $15 a month. We then take a percentage of the rental revenue. So anywhere from 10 to 20% of each rental that Mount facilitates is coming back to us. Now, the biggest objection we currently get is that the Airbnb market is dispersed. There's hosts everywhere around the world. How on earth are you going to find them all? Well, I'm here to tell you Mount has found the key to aggregate the market, and it has to do with our strategic partners. First of all, you have social media influencers. These are self-proclaimed masterclass teachers, Airbnb hosts, who make anywhere from $10 to $15 million a year off of their Airbnb listings. They now go around and teach upwards of 100,000 Airbnb hosts at a time to do what they're doing. We posted in an influencers Facebook group on the opportunity to list amenities, and within an hour, 207 hosts responded wanting to list these amenities. Now, our scalable go-to-market strategy has to do with property management software. 95% of Airbnb hosts are using a third-party software to do the management of their property. Mount came up with a list of 5 property management systems that we wanted to integrate that were focused on the guest experience. At the top of our vision board is a company called Operto. They're massive in the space, and not only have they worked with vacation rentals, but they also started in the hotel and boutique hotel space. I had the opportunity to meet the CEO a few weeks ago, and I got to tell him how he was on our vision board, and maybe in 2 years we'd like to integrate with him, meaning Mount would eventually become the company in the space for the guest experience. Well, as it turns out, Mount happened to be on Operto's vision board. They were actively seeking and looking for a guest experience platform like Mount and didn't know how to offer amenity rentals. So needless to say, that integration is underway and will be going live in the next Q1, probably towards the end of it. And we're not stopping there. What Mount figured out is that pretty much every piece of private property is operating in this gray space. They either want to increase their guest or tenant experience, but they don't know how. So we're not stopping in hospitality. We have the opportunity to go into the office space, the multifamily space, even retail, and outfit all of these properties with Mount amenities. Now, the Mount team is quite unique. We come from both the hospitality world as well as the micromobility world and combine the both to create Mount, which is taking the shared economy to the next level. So thank you so much for listening. Our seed raise, our raise is currently open. The terms are set. So if you'd like to come chat about that, you can see me after at the table. Thank you so much and happy to answer any questions.
Awesome, Madi. Thank you so much. All right. So we've got our first entrepreneur in the hot seat. Investors, what do you have to say? Who has a question for Madi? All right. Ayush, go ahead.
Hey, Madi. Thank you so much for presenting. I would love to know a little bit more about your background and kind of the genesis of the idea for Mount.
Yeah, so my background actually started when I was quite little. I've been developing bike locks since I was 12, and that's actually what spurred me to go into the micromobility market because Bird and Lime, as you probably know, do not have locks. So they caused a massive chaos. So I was consulting for those companies on their various locking situations for the past 3 years and then jumped into hospitality during COVID.
Yeah, it helps when you get started at 12 as an entrepreneur. So she's only 13 now, but it's all working out great. Okay, next question. Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Can you just walk us, hi Madi, enjoyed the presentation. And I was wondering if you could walk us through the like the unit economics a little more. I mean, I saw that it was like, the 10%, but just kind of like your acquisition costs as well. And how things can stay available, like through incentives and things like that.
Yeah, so our unit economics are quite simple. When the host signs up for a Mount amenity, basically to list their own bike or scooter, they are paying for that IoT device. And so it gets shipped to them, and that's what enables their amenity to be connected to our platform and be available. So really our only acquisition cost for the customer is on the marketing side. We send them a package to market their amenity, give them tips and tricks, and quickly onboard them. But from a cost standpoint, our CAC is pretty low because of that.
All right, next question. Yeah, go ahead, Ash.
Hey, Madi, I loved your presentation. Great job. So my question was, I'd love to understand your key barriers to entry or really what's the core components of your IP. Would you say your IoT device is really one of the key pieces of your IP? And are you producing that device, or do you have a channel partner that produces those devices on your behalf?
Yeah, so actually the key defensibility of Mount is in the software. So the software is pretty much IoT device agnostic. And we did that because of COVID and the way it disrupted the supply chain. So we didn't want to be beholden to one company that then couldn't supply us the device to list amenities. So in that case, we're not producing the hardware. We did originally start there, but not anymore. And then also, I think the other piece of defensibility is the fact that our software platform has this easy integratable feature into property management systems. That's kind of the core unique feature that really no other guest experience kind of has on the market right now. So that's kind of the software would be the defensibility.
All right, and one more. Aubrey, do you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Madi, so what is your moat or defense strategy against Airbnb moving into, amenities?
Yes, so that's a great question. We get that one often, like what stops Airbnb from doing this? So Airbnb is really focused on just maintaining the market share within short-term rentals. As you saw, Verbro and all of them are kind of encroaching. So one, they just don't really have the opportunity to go into these amenity rental space. But second, I think Mount's unique background coming from both micromobility and hospitality is what has allowed us to create this platform. And it includes asset tracking. We had to curate a specific insurance policy for this type of amenity rental. And the only reason we were able to do that was because of the connections we brought from the micromobility industry. So I think there's a lot of things stacked on Mount that are creating that defensibility that Airbnb just wouldn't have the bandwidth with. I'd say the more likely thing is that Airbnb in 5 years would want to buy us, or they would just completely integrate our software platform into theirs.
All right, so we're going to look forward to that purchase by Airbnb. Thank you so much, Madi. You guys can step off stage, and we'll have our panel off stage as well as we bring up our next presenter, which is Ignacio with HOKALI. Ignacio, come on up on stage.
Hi, Shinoa.
How are
Hi,
you?
everybody. I'm very good. So excited to be here.
Okay. Go ahead and share your screen with us. And again, I'll remind the audience, make sure you hit that full screen button so you can see everything. All right.
Okay. Aloha, everyone. How are you? My name is Ignacio. I'm CEO and co-founder at HOKALI Sports Lesson Marketplace. HOKALI is a marketplace that helps individual sport enthusiasts to easily find and book lessons from local coaching academies and private coaches. I used to work as a kite surfing coach and surfing coach when I was at the university. Also, Thomas, my co-founder and friend, he has more than 10 years of experience as a high-performance sailing coach. And we discovered that it was very difficult for somebody new to the sport to find and book a sport lesson. There is a lot of information distributed across many websites. Also, the majority of coaching academies, they don't have an online booking solution. And if you are lucky, after you spend a lot of time on the phone trying to book a lesson, you never know who's going to be your instructor because they are randomly assigned. So let me show you how easily we solve this problem with the HOKALI Marketplace. So HOKALI Marketplace has all the information that you need in one place. You can easily find and compare different coaching options. And also, HOKALI is the most simple and convenient way. You can find a coach tailored to your needs. Let me show you where we come so far after we launched this marketplace. We launched in April 2020. We are right now in 5 geographical locations: San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Jacksonville, Florida, and we just expanded to Oahu, Hawaii. We bootstrapped the company the first year without any external investment. And so far, we made $307,000 in gross revenue. This represents a commission revenue of $92,000 to HOKALI. By the way, our clients love us. They love us because we make the life so much easy for the students. And also the local schools and academies, they love us because we bring them more clients and they make a lot of money through the HOKALI Marketplace. So 90% of the schools agree to partner on the first call because HOKALI Marketplace works as a marketing funnel. We bring them more clients. And on the other hand, we have an admin tool that helps them to manage daily operations all in one platform. So we're experts in marketing and growth hacking. We reach first page position at Google in every geographical location that we launch. And also we focus all our efforts in the best user experience. It has never been so simple and easy to book a lesson before. These are our units economics. So we are a marketplace. We charge a 30% commission per transaction. We don't have fixed cost. At the moment, our first sport is surfing, and we are expanding to kite surfing, windsurfing in a few months. And also we will expand to tennis, golf by 2023 and 2024. So the world spent $37 billion in sport lessons every year. The US spent $9.5 billion in sports lessons every year. Just to have an idea, there are 95 million lessons booked in the US every year. So HOKALI by 2028 will be connecting 68 lessons per day in 40 locations. At the moment, we are connecting an average of 2 lessons per day in 5 geographical locations. We validated a remote expansion plan in the last 3 geographical markets that we launched. And our goal is to open the marketplace to more sports and more locations year by year. By 2027, we are projecting a commission revenue of $18 million. We will focus all our efforts in acquiring students at the lowest cost. We will focus in SEO strategy, paid ads, referral programs, and also partnerships. And just to have an idea, the customer acquisition cost varies by type of market: English-speaking market, non-English-speaking market, seasonal, or all-year-round market. This is our team. I met with Thomas, my friend and business partner, 6 years ago in San Francisco. We've been working together for more than 2 years. And as a cost reduction strategy, we have part of our team working from Argentina, sales, customer support, and marketing. At the moment, we are looking to raise $750,000 in pre-seed funding to expand the marketplace to 47 new locations by 2023, and also launch the new sports: kite surfing, windsurfing, tennis, and golf. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Ignacio. Great job. So we're going to bring our panelists back up on stage to ask you the hard questions. All right, who has a question for Ignacio? Yeah, Ayush, go ahead.
Hi, Ignacio. Wonderful
Hi,
presentation. I will definitely be a customer. Very excited for this. I just wanted to ask, how expensive and/or difficult is it to acquire the supply side of your marketplace? So the coaches, getting them incentivized to get on the platform. You mentioned that it's sort of a marketing opportunity for them and customer acquisition, but how do you go about actually getting those coaches?
So as I mentioned before, 90% of the schools that we reach, they want to get into the marketplace in the first call. We have a sales onboarding process. It's quite simple. First, we send an email, we introduce a marketplace, and then after 2 phone calls, we reach to the school owner and we close the deal there. It's quite simple, and in a few days, you can onboard a school.
Awesome. Aubrey, you have a question.
Yeah, it looked like you were planning from going to 5 markets to 12. Was just curious, what's your playbook for each market and how do you know when to expand?
So we are always looking to acquire more customers, and there are some markets that have seasonality, other ones they are all year round, and the goal here is to expand to new geographical markets in order to grow our revenue. The roadmap, we have a strategy. We define the roadmap by population. So we work as Airbnb or Uber. We go city by city. And we define the next city by checking population, competition, by checking Google Trends, and also by checking how many potential clients we can get from every location. And that's how we define the go-to-market, the roadmap expansion. Did I reply to your question?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Ignacio.
All right.
Thank you.
Next question. Steve, go ahead.
Ignacio, thanks for the presentation. Agreed. I think I could be a customer. My whole family, we always book all these things, and it is a real problem. So you're solving a real problem out there. Kind of, just adding on maybe to the previous question is just as a thought experiment to go a little deeper into your economics. Like, so Salesforce went public with a 3-to-1 CAC LTV ratio, right? So you have 6-to-1, which is great, but you're also at a very early stage, right? And everyone's also doing things digitally. As the market gets crowded, what are your assumptions around your spend with not just CAC, but with onboarding the supply? Is it going to be a race to the bottom, or is this a winner take all? Like, what are your thoughts in that perspective?
So right now we want to be the first one to get the network effect. And here, like we are focusing water sports as first layer, and then we're going to go to all the sports. We are going to be growing sports by sport every year, and also location by location. So we're going to do both in order to get all the market here. That's the strategy.
All right. Ash, do you have a question?
Definitely. So great presentation. I'm just curious, companies like CoachUp, they've had a lot of success with soccer and some of these other sports.
Yeah.
Would you view them as like potential channel partners or competitors?
They're actually competitors. So we want to be much better, because first we're going to have the best user experience ever. I mean, I know if you try the app is very good, but we are much better first. And second, HOKALI has an admin tool for the local business. It's not just getting clients to them. We have the admin tool that is going to help the business to operate daily and manage the operations, right? So we are different on that perspective as well.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, Ignacio. Thanks to our panel. And we will bring up our next presenter, who is going to be Al from Celitech. Al, please take to the stage. Hi, Al.
Hey, Shana. Can you imagine life without mobile apps? Well, that's
Al, I'm not seeing your screen share.
Oh, sorry.
Try again. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
There you go.
All right. Can you imagine life without mobile apps? Well, that's the case for over 65% of international travelers who turn off their data roaming because it's pricey and don't get a local SIM card because it's inconvenient. Celitech is a cellular data platform helping any travel company to offer co-branded international data plans using one-click eSIM technology. Aloha, everyone. My name is Ahmad. I go by Al. I'm the founder and CEO of Celitech. Prior to Celitech, I co-founded Access Technologies out of Hong Kong, and Access has been an IoT play helping the telco industry to better manage their workforce and assets. We grew Access from scratch to $10 million ARR and 150 employees. Now at Celitech, we're a group of professionals with background in telco engineering, software development, and hospitality. And we're all focused on improving the travel experience using connectivity. Now, the way we do it is by enabling our partners to bundle data plans with any online product they have. So if you're booking a flight or a hotel, at checkout, you'll be able to add a data plan to your booking with one tick mark. And you'll get it as a QR code that you'll have to scan by your device to have a plan ready for your trip. Now, besides connectivity, we help our travel partners to brand the eSIM network. And why this is a big deal? Because we help them keep their brand on the mind of their traveler in destination in order to improve their mobile engagement and upsales. For example, they'll be able to upsell you extra ancillary services like in-destination activities, attractions, or even local transport. Now, we believe the time is right for our solution for three main reasons. First, eSIM is already in 1.2 billion devices, and it's going to be a default feature of all smartphones, exactly like Bluetooth. Second, international travel is recovering, and the US is opening up for international travel next week, while IATA is forecasting a rebound in 2022. And third, 5G and cloud are creating new opportunities and use cases beyond smartphones and travel. Our signed customers include major brands like Expedia Group, JTB, while our partners also, while our pipeline include big brands like Booking.com. It's worth noting here that between Expedia and Booking, we'll be able to access over 60% of the online travel agency market. Our market is estimated to be around $45 billion, out of which the available market is around $20 billion. And from that, we believe we can obtain around $250 million. And this is not too crazy, given that our signed customer Expedia can generate up to $60 million in annual sales. We're different than our competition in many ways, mainly by having a patented B2B API approach. While B2C used to work for SIM cards, now with eSIM, it's not as effective because eSIM is not as sticky. The user can switch plans with a couple clicks. Accordingly, we have a very efficient CAC, and we save the value we create. We share the value we create with our partners and their travelers. Our business model is a B2B SaaS model where our pricing is divided into two buckets, on a pay-as-you-go basis and on a subscription basis. Our gross margin is over 65%, while our LTV to CAC is over 8. We're currently raising a seed round of $1.5 million, and the objective of this fundraise is to expand our coverage to 180 countries, grow our MRR to $80,000 within 14 months, and enter new verticals like fintech and loyalty programs. Now I'll open up the floor for a Q&A session, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, great job, Al. We'll bring our panelists back up here to ask questions. So who has a question for Al? All right, Ash, go ahead.
Hi, Al. Great presentation. So I'd love to
Thank you.
understand, Oxio, they're another company that offers a carrier as a service platform. And I'm curious, they've had a lot of success sort of at the seed stage, expanding into Latin America, some other markets. Is there a specific geography you're targeting?
Sorry, I didn't get the name. What's the name of the company?
Oxio, OXIO.
Okay.
I'm just curious, like, is there a specific geography you see the most potential, or you focus mostly on North America?
So we're focused on North America and globally. Obviously, to work with OTAs, we have to be global, but we've built IP and we have utility patents around programming the eSIM to fit any trip. So nobody else can bundle an eSIM with the booking with one click mark, because we have utility patents around that in the US, Europe, and China is in progress. And the notions and the notion there is basically to help our travel partner do more with connectivity. So branding is also another thing we provide. And on top of that, for the traveler, make it as convenient as adding travel insurance to your trip.
All right, next question. Aubrey.
Just a question to add on, just to understand the market. Who do you see as your target customer, and what percentage of that target customer is currently compatible with eSIM phones?
Yeah, so our target customer, we're a B2B focused company. Our main customers are the OTAs like Expedia Group, Booking, and everybody who offers this online travel.
And then end customer.
So their traveler is the end customer,
yeah.
And their customers are mostly having now the eSIM compatible devices, especially the iPhones. So this issue is fading away as more iPhones get to the market. But yeah, basically their travelers are our customer. But the point is to help our partner do more with their customer, not to get to the traveler. We want the connectivity to be an enabler to other stuff like transactions around helping you get an Uber at your airport when you land, helping you buy an ancillary service in destination like an attraction or an activity. And as a traveler, you always want to deal with one app, one provider, because it's convenient. You have so many items to plan. So you want to deal with probably Expedia, Booking, or maybe Marriott if you have like Bonvoy. So these are our let's say current focus.
All right. One more question. Yes, Steve.
Yes. Hi, Al. Thank you for the presentation. Interesting product. I was, before the pandemic, people would ask me where I live, and I would say seat 9A. So I feel the data roaming pain. I've enjoyed being home for the last 2 years, but my question is, I've used a variety of these, and the cost, kind of flips around, and in fairness, the cost is dictated by the local carrier. So, talk to me a little bit about that end cost, and is it Expedia, let's say, going to subsidize? So it's like T-Mobile does that. It's $5 a day, no matter what, wherever I am in the world, if it's available, like from Nepal to wherever, and I've used it and it's pretty good. Is that part of the plan to compete with the carriers, data package, international data packages directly?
So the carriers have this lucrative market in roaming, and they're not in rush to disrupt it. They have good margins in there. And for them, the focus is always on their local wireless plans, because they want to give you the most competitive local wireless plan, regardless of roaming. Roaming is a full upside for them. But when you travel, you typically pay $8 to $10 a day if you want to get the LTE daily passes. So if you're traveling for 10 days, it's $100 trip. We bring down that to $20. Which will trigger bigger markets, especially the dormant travelers, the 65% who are mostly the leisure travelers, who would be willing to pay $20. And we're connected to over 600 networks in our back end. We'll always offer you the best value network. It's not only the price, it's also the quality of service you get in destination. So in many countries, we offer you more than one network. We offer you 2 to 3 networks. Here in the US, we picked AT&T for a reason. If you drive from LA to San Francisco, I'm sure you've lost coverage on T-Mobile. So that's the reason why we picked AT&T, for example, in the US, because we wanna give you the best quality of service.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks, Al. Thanks to our panel. And we will bring up our next presenter, which is Candice from GiveSpace. Candice, take to the stage. We can't hear you, Candice.
Hi, everyone. So great to
There
be
you
here
go.
today. I'll share my screen now. Did you know that in 2020 alone, individuals donated $309 billion to charities in the US, while corporations donated $26 billion? Businesses are missing the opportunity to partner with their customers in giving to meet a segment of their corporate social responsibility initiatives. The problem is existing software solutions are fragmented and missing the most important pieces of creating an authentic cause marketing campaign, which is why you see companies pledging X number of dollars without input from their customers or feedback from the charities on how those donations were used. This is no longer enough. We know because marketing and branding executives tell us about how they're receiving emails or comments on social media asking for more transparency. And research shows that in the past year, 85% of consumers are choosing to purchase from brands that support a cause that's meaningful to them. And that number bumps to 91% for millennials. Not addressing this leads to a loss in brand loyalty and sales. At GiveSpace, our platform brings together company, customer, and charity to be a tool to help meet sustainability and social impact initiatives. We know cause marketing campaigns are time-consuming and difficult to manage. It takes an average of 4 to 12 months to create a meaningful campaign. Connecting with nonprofits is difficult, especially grassroots ones. Then there's the manual calculations and the dilemma of how to create transparency with the people that mean the most to you, your customers. At GiveSpace, our software is a tool for marketing and branding executives to reach their customers at scale. You can create, manage, and execute campaigns, selecting from a database of thousands of vetted 501c3 charities. It offers consumer choice in the end, allowing the customer to directly select a cause from a drop-down menu and offering an option for them to donate with you. So as your customers are checking out of an online shopping cart or checking into a hotel or choosing to donate instead of taking a swag item at their next conference, you are connecting with them as a partner. Once the campaign is done, the business receives an automated tax-deductible receipt and follow-up from the charity with a thank you and an update on how the funds were used, completing the life cycle so that you can show with content how you've partnered with your customers in making impacts directly in your community. Hi, I'm Candice Dietz, co-founder and CEO at GiveSpace. I'm a meritorious civilian service medal recipient with 20 years in communications, community, and nonprofit experience. I'm thrilled to introduce our core team to you. Connie is our co-founder and CMO, a former Universal Music Marketing Group executive and marketing expert who has led over $95 million in sales for prominent D2C brands. And Harshal is our CTO, a two-time software founding architect, and has built GiveSpace from the ground up. Together, we not only bring our professional experience, but our unique understanding of this complex market. So let's talk market size. Our TAM is $335 billion in individual and corporate giving. Our SAM is in giving platforms specifically, the swag market, and 10% of consumer giving from our target markets. And 230 million is our SOM, 10% of online giving transaction fees, which is growing at a 20% year-over-year growth. GiveSpace has 3 competitors in e-commerce fundraising, Pledge, Shopping Gives, and Gives, which is a transactional e-commerce cart plugin. They raised 4.5 million, 8 million, and 4.5 million this year. Our competitive advantage is in our standalone platform, which you can create, manage, and execute in a streamlined process, offers customer transaction, selection, and transparency, and our 360-degree approach for as a tool for social impact and sustainability, which leads to increased brand loyalty and sales. And our team, we bring over 50 years of combined experience and our unique understanding of this complex market. Current status, our MVP is in beta. We have 7 enterprise partnerships in our pipeline and 30 waitlisted customers. With this, we are projecting 181,000 ARR at the end of year 1, which is 2022, with year 5 ending at 230 million. Our go-to-market strategy is really focused on partnerships. We are looking to partner with e-commerce marketplaces, email marketing platforms, conferences and events platforms, and hospitality and tourism. Our pricing model is simple. We offer a transaction fee model to start and custom plans for subscription basis for enterprise customers and partners. We're raising $500,000 pre-seed to meet our current demands and for product development and integrations, expand our partnerships, and develop our consumer web extension. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome job, Candice. Thank you very much. We will bring our panelists back up on stage and ask you some tough questions. All right. So who has a question for Candice? All right, Steve, go ahead.
Okay. This is more of a existential question. Is as I was listening to, first of all, thank you for your presentation. It was very eye-opening, actually. And I say that because it goes into my question is that, when I first saw it, I was a little skeptical. And then I remembered maybe my last e-commerce transactions, which went from an influencer to the transaction, right? So I feel like typically when I make an online donation, it's because of I feel personally connected to that cause or someone I know was personally connected to that cause. So that's where my question is that linkage. Tell me about your customer development process to kind of understand that linkage, because I could see this working very well, or I could see it not. I think it's almost 0 or 1. I assume you've done some of that customer development. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
That's a great question, Stephen. And when we first started, we actually thought, okay, we're going to market this to small and medium-sized e-commerce businesses to begin with. And what we found through our networks and connections is that it was the enterprise level companies that want GiveSpace because they already have a sustainability component that's built into their business model. But they're telling us this is not enough. And they try to build a system like GiveSpace in-house. But it took away too much from their core product. So they're really looking to connect with their customers on an individual basis. And so all of our partnerships out there now are all enterprise level, doing millions of dollars in business annually.
All right. Yeah, Ayush, go ahead.
Wonderful presentation, Candice. I had a question on the fulfillment cycle you talked about and how you're using content to drive kind of that brand loyalty and also make sure that the brand gets what they pay for, basically. Can you talk a little bit about that content and how you plan to, are you helping provide that content, or how's that all going to be fulfilled?
Yeah, actually, we have a nonprofit portal just specifically to address that content. So anytime a nonprofit is selected for a campaign, they are alerted through that portal. And our nonprofit partners have signed on to say, yes, we this is what we want to do. We want to provide that feedback. And we also have issues dealing with this and giving them proper feedback and a proper thank you, because we're short-staffed and we don't have the resources as a nonprofit. So they're really excited about being able to have that ease of button to put out a tweet to say thank you, and then have the alert them in 3 to 6 months to say, hey, remember you received that $500? Let's upload a blurb or a photo to let them know how those funds were used. So it's all automated and built into that side of the portal.
Awesome. All right. One more question?
I had a question kind of around that. Given that they're enterprises, obviously, longer sales cycles and potentially tougher integrations in terms of existing systems. So what is on your roadmap? What currently exists in terms of integrations? And then what's on your roadmap as sort of the next top 3 things that you need to build?
Yeah, actually, we have 7 proposals out for a Q1 2022 integration. Some of them we are already, it's already built into our system. We're ready to go. They're actual physical, they create the campaign and it would be a QR code displayed at certain areas of physical locations that they are desiring. The other is like a Shopify plugin. So that's already in development. We are in round now, 3rd phase, and I think this is the final round for approval there. So it depends. I mean, they either fit one of those 2 categories. We haven't done, there would be customized integrations on the checkout level at hotels. So that's the customized integration that we are would be looking at for Q1 2022.
All right. Thank you, Candice. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, panel.
Thank you so much.
All right. So that is the end of part 1 of our program today. So we're going to reset the stage. It's going to take just a few quick minutes. So you maybe have time to grab some water or, a beer. That sounds good. And meet us back here. We'll be pulling you back into session in just a few minutes as we reset for part 2 of cohort 13 demo day. Thanks, everybody. All right, and we are back with our part 2 of cohort 13 demo day. So great to see everybody back. Thanks for hanging with us. All right, so our first presenter for our part 2 is Austin with Phenom. Austin, please take the stage.
Hey everyone.
Hi, Austin. All right, looks good. Remember to hit that full screen button, everybody.
Yeah, it's great to be here. The founder of Phenom. Phenom is a platform that unlocks celebrity coaching from professional athletes for top youth players. And we're here today because of an observation of a market that's going to explode, the youth sports industry. In 2019, it was valued at almost $20 billion, a 1.5 times increase from 7 years ago. In the next 7 years, it's expected to grow even more to almost $80 billion. And this is fueled by a revolution where youth sports is becoming hyper-competitive, forcing the market to spend more and more to keep up. Although everything else in the industry, like uniforms, equipment, and club fees, have reached premium offerings, sports coaching has not, as 85% of coaches are still parents. As a result, there's more demand than ever for premium coaching services that didn't exist before. And in 2019, $9.2 billion of revenue was generated from that vertical alone. And so our solution is something that bridges the gap between players and credible coaches through professional athletes. So we previously validated this concept through a similar platform that we built, which allowed kids to book lessons from coaches from Pono, Hawaii. It brings in around $300,000 of revenue per year for them, which is a very promising signal considering that's from just one sport in Hawaii. This led to the question of how we could take this promising model to the next level. So we leaned in on our unfair network advantage and went straight to the professionals. Mark is a MLB agent who represents over 75 athletes, and Kirby is a 7-year MLB veteran who won a recent All-Star award. Both have committed to work with us to test our original concepts. So we're currently in the middle of a live lesson pilot, and here's one of our case studies. Tyler is a promising young pitcher, so we set him up with Kirby Yates, an all-star pitcher. He's been taking lessons from Kirby for the past few months, where Kirby has helped him with various things such as pitch grip or fundamentals or mindset, and he took what he learned to become the star player of Hawaii's most recent Little League World Series run. For those who don't know, the World Series is the biggest youth baseball event and is broadcasted on ESPN. And because of status, credibility, and market demand, we know when we position these as a premium service. And as we gather data from the live lessons, we are also exploring options to create supplemental self-training programs to deliver those insights and credibility at scale. Ideally, a user would take a lesson from one of our athletes and then subscribe to a program that would prompt them to input data and upload videos that would allow them to continue to engage and get feedback from the professional athlete. So along with scale, this model also allows us to bring in recurring revenue in the form of monthly subscriptions. To get to market, we plan on giving away live lessons that we believe will earn us press to jumpstart customer acquisition. We will also have the athletes promote our platform through their social campaigns, and both are expected to be relatively low cost but extremely efficient channels. None of our direct competitors currently offer what we're proposing in the form of structured workouts, professional athletes, and live lessons. Our secret sauce or differentiator for building the business and product is around a model that we call RISE. The R standing for recurring revenue for monthly subscriptions to inspire consistent use. The I is for integrations with other sports technology to maximize the effectiveness of our users' performance improvement. The S for stickiness is influence from the data collected that will showcase how much the user has improved by being on our platform. And the E, which is the hardest, but something that we believe we figured out, is for emotion, which will come from the engagement when our users finally have the opportunity to meet their heroes. So due to our current network, we're initially focused on baseball, but we know this model will work with other sports and plan on expanding in the future. Justin and I met a couple years ago and have been working on various projects since then. I have a background in technical leadership and consumer marketing, which will allow me to execute our product roadmap and business plan. Justin, who is the initial source of capital and is now serving as the chairman, has a few prior IPO exits and is helping with deal facilitation, networking, and general business strategy. We've gotten a lot of interest and momentum in the past couple of weeks. We have the agents and players ready to go, and they are preparing to invest both cash and sweat equity. And so we're now looking for people to get involved with us early and are willing to be flexible with the terms of the rounds until the pilot is over. Thank you all for your time. Happy to move on to answering questions.
Awesome job, Austin. Thank you very much. We're bringing our panelists back up here to ask the tough questions. All right, panel. What do you say? Who has a question for Austin? Yeah, Ayush, go ahead.
Hey, Austin. Great stuff. I used to play youth soccer, and so I'm sure I could have used better coaching, to be honest, thinking back. I wanted to ask a little bit about any market research or consumer research you've done that tells us a little bit more about the willingness to pay for parents to pay for this kind of, it seemed like obviously pretty expensive pricing. So can you just tell us about the consumer psychology there, about why parents would be willing to pay that much for their kid?
Sure. So our niche target markets for the live lessons is the travel ball audience, which is paying exorbitant amounts of money to fly across the country to have their kids play. And the psychology behind it is that there's no way for them to have access to these professional baseball players. So, we're unlocking this new market that they have never had access to before, and that becomes invaluable, right?
Yeah, Steve.
If I could add to that or add a question on that same line is, if you're familiar with Cameo, which is the app that connects the celebrities, that is actually at a micro level, right? Like you'll get a celebrity and might only spend a 2-minute message. Do you see a future in there? Because the product you have right now to me seems very premium, and I think it could be a really big market, but to really explode into that, everyone wants to be a unicorn these days. I feel like you'll need, more transactions. Have you thought about what that positioning would be and if that's possible?
Yeah, so the scale piece of it really is through those training programs, right? Where it becomes from taking it from one-to-one to one-to-many, and we're still building on the foundation of those insights and credibility.
Okay. All right. Aubrey, have a question?
Yeah, it was just your team slide there. I know you guys are early, but what are you going to be in charge of? And then how are you thinking of growing your team? What are your next hires?
So the next hire is going to be someone with technical marketing experience, or potentially someone with a really big network in the sports space.
All right. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
We'll say bye to you, and we'll bring up our next presenter, which will be Conor with Inkah. Conor, take to the stage. Hi, Conor.
Everyone, happy to be here. Thanks for coming out. Hi, Shanoa. Thanks for bringing me on stage. Let's go ahead and share my screen. All right. Thank you all again for coming out. I'm Conor. I'm the founder and CEO of Inkah, and we are a marketplace for intermediate language learners to finally make the leap between basic speech and fluency. I actually just moved back to the US from Asia, where I lived for 9 years. While I was there, I studied Mandarin, but I was also the co-founder and CTO of 99.co, a property portal in Singapore. While I was there, I led product and engineering, and we grew it to be the second largest property marketplace in Southeast Asia. It's in good hands with my co-founders. I decided to leave to move back to the US, but it continues to grow, and I'm happy for them. But through the experience of studying Chinese and speaking to other learners, it became clear to me while learning Mandarin that what got me through beginner wasn't enough to get through intermediate. You need to learn to think in the language, to improvise, and come up with novel sentences and ideas. And as part of that, you often have to immerse yourself in context with content that actually has natural conversations and descriptions. And what do we most often think about? What do we want to talk to each other about? What do we want to have conversations about? It's content that we're interested in, content that actually reflects our daily life. And often when you're going through a fixed curriculum, you'll find that the vocabulary you're learning is not relevant to how you're actually going to be using it. And so when you're looking for the topics that you're interested in as an intermediate learner, you find there's just not enough of it. I, for example, was interested in Chinese culture and slang. And despite waiting for 9 years for the top apps to offer it, Duolingo going public, having 400 employees, they still don't have it. But do you know who does have it? Inkah. Why do we have it? Because we are building a marketplace where educators and learners can become creators and help other learners. Meet Carol. She teaches Chinese at the National Taiwan University and loves talking about Chinese culture and slang. She often talks to her students about it and has pulled her material online, but only her students have access to it. Our platform will unlock that content. And there are thousands of other people just like Carol out there. With our product, you'll be able to select your interests, your level, be able to filter by what's important to you, and be able to practice with audio, video, and transcripts you can easily absorb by going sentence by sentence. You can see explanations for key concepts and save the words, grammar, and concepts that are important for later review. And that's important because then Inkah can create personalized lesson plans where you can learn one concept at a time. And by learning one concept at a time, you're able to progress while still having the flexibility of enjoying the content that you like and you're interested in and fit your goals. For our business plan, we're going to be doing a freemium subscription where our pro plan will go for $8.99, while free users will be ad supported. To incentivize creators, we're doing a revenue share model similar to Spotify, where we retain at least 30%. And for our competition, we've positioned ourselves so that we can best serve the intermediate learner. A marketplace gives us network effects for defensibility, and as we learn more about the interests and the level of our customers, we'll have a data moat via our algorithm and data. This is not our first language learning product. We actually launched our pilot product earlier this year, which is a browser extension that lets you learn Chinese and Korean as an English speaker from watching shows on Netflix like Squid Game, watching YouTube, or browsing articles on the web. We've built a community around it. They love it. And we're going to use them as part of our customer acquisition strategy for our upcoming app as we continue to dive into building a community and expanding on Reddit, our Discord server, and other channels. We've also built relationships with language learning influencers. These influencers are incentivized and want to talk about the latest and greatest because what do their learners want to know? How can I learn faster? How can I learn more? And in terms of paid acquisition, we're not reinventing the wheel. We look at industry standards and we know that we can create a profitable business with an LTV to CAC of 1.5 to 2x. To solve the cold start problem of a marketplace, we will supplement the supply with publicly available podcast RSS feeds. So we have the supply from day one. And in terms of our market size, there are currently 750 million language learners learning digitally. The market is set, digital language learning is set to 3x by 2025 with a 25.6% CAGR. We're going to go after the low-hanging fruit of intermediate language learners that take language proficiency exams every year. There are 8.5 million of them out there, but this is only a proxy. There's a lot more out there. And if we capture just 10% of those 8.5 million test takers, that's 850K subscribers. That brings 90 million in of ARR. Our team is made up of educators and learners that have all felt the pain. We have contributors who have decided to address the pain point for themselves and support the vision. We're currently raising a pre-seed. And finally, language is about connection. And we want people to be connected to their material, to our culture, and to each other. And that is what we're all about. Thank you all so much. Happy to take questions.
Awesome. Awesome job, Conor. Okay, so questions for Conor. All right, Steve. I know you're not shy.
I'm not shy at all. Hi, Conor. Good job. Thank you for the presentation. And good energy too. Thank you. So quick question is, I mean, as you know, and everyone knows, the obvious, right, is that there's a very crowded space, right? So you have a niche, which is cool. Talk to me about just like where your budget assumptions are moving forward, because like right now it's pretty easy with a niche to go meet some people and validate your market. But as you go deeper, just like Zynga raised the price per click of download for every game developer, it didn't crowd them out. It just made the capital requirements of those future successful games to be higher. So just talk a little bit about that, because I do think it's something that would affect your capital raises in the future too.
Yeah. So in terms of our timeline, what we're looking at is the pre-seed round to finish building out the app. We know, given our current community, we can already bring them on board. And in terms of the execution plan, we're looking at going through those 7 languages of Asian languages first, of Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, where we think the pre-seed is more than enough. And as part of that, we'll also start with Spanish, which is the other key language. Where we'll definitely have to raise more capital is when we move into English language learning. And that's where the big hyper-competitive space is. So it is a crowded space, but generally most of the competition is in the quadrant of English learning. And that's why we're starting with these beachhead markets, which we can go after with a far more capital efficient vector. So small, big seed is the plan.
All right, Aubrey, go ahead.
Yeah, Conor, to that, you mentioned a little bit about kind of getting the flywheel going by populating sort of RSS feeds with podcasts. Like, talk to me a little bit about, seems like always a key that we think about in terms of getting these marketplaces going is how you get distribution to the right people. And so if you can just go one layer deeper on, it's one thing to like put a podcast out, it's another thing to get the right distribution. Like how do you actually reach, this right demographic of intermediate learners?
Yeah, so what's fantastic about the language learning community is that they are very close knit, and many of them are hyper online. So where we've had a lot of success and we plan to double down on is Discord specifically. Many of the language learning Discords out there have tens of thousands of members, and they're happy to talk about new tools and services. So we see that as our new distribution mechanisms, leveraging this new network via Discord. They're the classic channels like Reddit and Instagram, there's the StudyGram culture. So this is where we go back to focusing on language learning influencers. So if we're going capital in terms of marketing expenses, what it's going to be is actually incentivizing the language learning influencers to talk about us. And finding the right people, you find, okay, you're studying Korean, this influencer is publishing at the intermediate level, we're going to go after you. So we just look for who is the influencer in the space, and then we find that target demographic. That also applies to Discord.
Hey, Conor. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ayush. Yeah.
So typically in language learning, I think there's a lot of churn in a lot of these different kinds of tools and services to learn languages. I was wondering if you could point to an element of your product that is going to help mitigate churn, or how are you looking at potential churn in your product?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ayush. So part of the reason that we want to target intermediate language learners is that they have already proven themselves going through the gamut of being very motivated and going through beginners. So one of our expectations with going after this niche as our beachhead market is that churn is going to be far less than the aspirational learner who comes in for a couple months just to learn a few basic phrases, goes to France, etc. And that's why we still want to go after that serviceable, obtainable market of these language learners that have proven they want to pay, take a language proficiency test to know where they're at. And for these language proficiency tests, they have to listen, read, and write in long form. And that's exactly where our product differentiates itself.
Awesome job. All right, Conor, thank you very much. We'll send you off stage and bring on our next presenter, which is going to be Eja from Tomyo, by far the entrepreneur who has come the furthest to participate in Blue Startups all the way from Mongolia, which is pretty cool.
Hi, everybody, and hi, I think 100 other people. Very excited to be here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's go ahead. Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Eja Batbold. I'm the CEO, co-founder at Tomyo. Tomyo is a drag and drop app builder for creators. So we want everybody to be able to build their own apps in easy 3 steps. You know how easy it is to build a website today on Squarespace and Wix.com? The same should be for when you want to have your app stores on app stores and play stores. So one, you would go to tomyo.io. This is in our website. It works amazingly. And you would drag and drop the features you need. So this could be a video, test, live streaming, anything you want to have content on, you drag and drop. Step 2, upload your content. So right now we're focusing on people who already have an existing content. So in this case, if you have a YouTube channel, you would just put your YouTube channel link and it would pre-populate all of your YouTube content to your app immediately. And then you would go ahead and preview the app on app stores and play stores and look and feel if you like it. And if you like it, you go ahead and publish this. So this is working today as we talk, just like this. So we're very happy with this technical progress we made and also excited about the traction and market demand for it. Because this year we made $180,000 from the 8 client apps we published, and there are 350,000 users. And we just signed a partnership deal. So this is going to be our go-to-market strategy because this partner agency is going to give us the big name YouTubers for the next 3 years to work on their branded apps. So we're very happy to have this client pipeline and just want to really automate a lot of the tech side of things so we can serve a million more people. So that's our trajectory, and I want you to guys meet Anne. Anne is our recent client. She used our technology to build her own branded app. Previously, she still is a big yoga and the meditation instructor on YouTube. She spends a lot of money and actually time to build this beautiful content, right? But she's not able to actually make a living out of the YouTube ad revenue. So a lot of the time she have to use a lot of these different softwares to kind of monetize. For example, she's been using a closed Facebook group to add premium content and ask people to pay on Patreon and other websites so they would get access to this Facebook group to access premium content, right? So that's been a lot of work. So now using our platform, she has her own branded app. So she's becoming more than a creator and almost running her own business full time this way. And she's excited about making a lot more money that she didn't have before by turning her viewers into subscribers and offering them the premium content packages and building more two-way communications with her existing audience. So this is very exciting. Here are some examples of our current drag and drop features. We very much focus on engagement-driven features. So, for example, Anne used notification and discussion forums, and the payment and then the scheduling, guided programs and things like that, because she already had the content and she just wanted to give more things to her audience. We're also excited to show you some of our happy clients here, anywhere from fitness to hip hop training centers, mom groups. Mom group was a Facebook group before, and then now they have own branded app, and they can have all these different category discussions on their apps. It's pretty cool. And we have anywhere from kids learning, business training, language learning apps too. We make money today. So 2 types of subscription. We charge the creator $300. This is a monthly technical subscription. And we charge every time there's an in-app transaction, we charge them 10 to 15%. So this is where majority of our income comes from. We're today making money, and next year with this one agency deal that we signed, they're giving us 68 clients. So that's guaranteed top line 4 million client revenue, and then our transaction cut is $500,000 there. So our LTV to CAC ratio is pretty amazing, 9x. So that's what we're excited about this business. And then our go-to-market strategy has been we want to work with people who already have a content because our technology is ready. So we've been going after these gorillas of YouTube. What that means is anybody with more than 100,000 subscribers, we would pre-populate their YouTube channel into an app and just show them, hey, do you want to go ahead and publish this and you would have your own branded app? And a lot of times people said yes. So also on the business side, what our value proposition has been, hey, if you have 100,000 subscribers, maybe 1% of them are your true fans. So these 1,000 people are maybe willing to give you $10 a month for a premium subscription to be able to interact with you, right? So this is $10,000 additional income to the YouTube creators. So this is pretty amazing to them as well. So with this kind of direct outreach, we've been able to onboard Andrew. He's a big one. He got like 500,000 YouTube subscriptions. So this is a game changer for us. So while going after this kind of like go-to direct outreach, we learned that a lot of these YouTubers have an agency they work with. So we signed the High Connect Studios. That's our next guaranteed 3-year client pipeline comes from. Very exciting for us. So we don't have to do this direct outreach anymore. On the competition side, obviously there are no-code app builders out there like Adela and Bubble. They are big, but they focus on small to medium businesses. So a lot of the times, you still need to hire a freelancer or a technical person who knows how to integrate these different building blocks on these different platforms. So it's not very user-friendly. So that's what our differentiation is for the end user to be able to, like simply understand what you're doing when you're building your app. On the fan-based monetization, obviously Patreon and OnlyFans are there, but you still don't get the engagement and kind of like your own control and the community feeling on this centralized platforms. Here's our team. We've been working on this for 2 years. My co-founders come from very technical background, worked at Amazon, IBM, and Dell. They also actually worked on our first fintech company in Mongolia and sold it to SoftBank and Marubeni. So very solid team and excited to be working on this. We're right now raising our pre-seed. We have follow-up investment coming as well. So we're looking for the lead investor at this round. And yeah, thank you.
All right, Eja, thank you very much. Great presentation. And
thank you.
It's been super fun having Eja and her team here. Mongolians have so much great positive energy. I really loved it.
We've never been surrounded by this much ocean before, so excited to be here.
and this much warm weather, right?
No, yeah, it's snowing there. So our engineers are very jealous of us because we have 8 engineers in Mongolia right now, and our CTO and CPO, myself, are here in Hawaii. They're just like, we want to be in Hawaii next too.
Yeah,
so.
It's not exactly fair, but it's all been worth it. Yeah. All right, questions from the panel.
Hey, Eja. Oh, thank you. I had a quick question on your CAC, and I wanted to understand a little bit more about the customer acquisition strategy you mentioned, which is build the app, pre-populate it, show it to them, and if they say yes, like how does that kind of bake into your CAC? Like how do you look at that as a cost?
So right now we haven't done any marketing efforts. We've been like going after messaging these YouTubers with their pre-populated app. Hey, here's your app. Go ahead, let's publish it, right? So, so that's been our strategy. We onboarded like 3 clients like that in the past 3 months. Now the agency deal makes a lot of sense because they are talent management agencies, so they already have like 250 big YouTubers who wants their app. So we said like, hey, can you just give us like 2 at a time because we're gonna get like other agencies as well. So like this pipeline is now our go-to-market strategy.
All right, next question. Yeah, Steve.
Hi there, Eja. Thank you for the presentation and the energy.
Thank you.
I've actually been to Mongolia a few times, and I remember it being very hot, but I was there in the summer. It's in Ulaanbaatar, just very, very hot. So, but I know it gets very cold. My question is around how you get around, or not just get around, but you look at the controversies right now with Epic Games and Apple in the App Store. The creator economy has, I'll use the industry term, the Apple tax, right? So can you speak to that? Because I think it's pretty critical to the business model.
Yeah. So we take 10% of the transaction fees after the 15% transaction cut Apple does on all of their in-transaction apps. So Google and Play Store, let's say 15%, and then we take 10% additionally. So 25% at top. So that's still the creators are getting 75% of their revenues compared to, for example, YouTube community page. people, like the creators get only 60% of the revenue. A lot of these different like revenue share models, creators are still losing a lot of the money.
Okay,
So, and the other thing is like they're very happy to show off their branded apps. This has been with the YouTubers. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it after my videos. Like, go ahead and download my app. So it really is great because day one we have audience and download immediately.
Yeah, I think I had one question around just kind of like your roadmap for customization and what are the core use cases for the website? Because obviously with low code, no code, you want to kind of get 80% of what people want, but there's like a natural tension between that and someone wanting something unique. If every YouTuber has exactly the same functionality, you know,
absolutely.
So how do you guys think about that?
So a roadmap, right now we have like 12 features that we locked down, works very well. For example, video streaming, we know exactly like where people drop off and come back, resume. And this kind of like analytics given to the YouTuber or the creator is very like exciting thing for them. And also having like the data, the analytics over like their usage and their user database is something that they didn't have access before. So creators are excited about that. The other thing in the pipeline, maybe in 2-3 years, once we're more like well known, is being able to have an open kind of like freelance graphic page. People are able to, you know, open source our like different templates to us. That's where we want to be.
All right. Thank you, Eja.
Thank you.
Thank you, panel. And we will move on to our last presentation from cohort 13. This is Pat from Vanta Leagues. So Pat, come on down, take the stage. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Janelle. How you doing?
Good.
All right, 1 second. I'll get the screen up and running. Okay, good to go?
Looks good.
All right, thank you very much. Last but not least, so I'm Pat Cronin. I am the CEO of Vanta Leagues. Very happy to be here, present what we've been building for the last few months. And it's really been a passion of a labor of love. So we built a digital little league for esports. And if you're not familiar with esports, that's the world of competitive gaming. I do want to take a step back and talk about why we started. So unfortunately, during COVID, our co-founder Ed's son was cyberbullied playing Fortnite. And so this was a pretty emotionally taxing incident for Ed and for his family. But he called me up and we said, okay, how do we fix this? What's the real culprit here? And why is there so much toxicity in gaming? We realized that it's kind of a Wild West. So you have no adult in the room. And we looked at the industry at large and said, okay, are there any opportunities within gaming or esports where we can build a business that can solve this? And we knew, we were a team of gamers, and we knew that there's a big issue within esports itself where there's very little coaching structure, there's very little pipeline structure to move up to the next competitive level. And if you were to apply a traditional sports model to esports, you would really solve and kill two birds with one stone. And really the key here is with coaching. So that's what we built. I want to introduce you to Vanta Leagues. It's a little league for esports in the sense that we have the structure of little leagues. We have seasonal leagues that happen, regular coach-led practices throughout the week. We have games that we broadcast to the parents to get them involved. And importantly, we focus on that holistic player development. As I was growing up as an athlete, I had this good mentors and a lot of the soft skills that have carried with me throughout my life. And we want to make sure that the coaches are imparting that on the kids. We really are sort of an underserved part of the market. They may not be part of traditional sports or music or theater, and they're just kind of gamers, and this is a really important aspect for us. We do that in three ways. One is through the development leagues themselves, and this is where we pair expert gamers with teams of youth players so they can get a form of identity within that team, and they can compete against their peers in a safe, moderated environment. But importantly for us, we wanted to make sure that the coaching was at as high a level as possible. And so we've put a lot of time and effort into building a leadership development academy for these coaches, reminiscent of my days at West Point, where we're making sure that soft skill development is imparted on all these coaches so they can go from an expert gamer to somebody that's suitable for getting in front of your kids. And then lastly, we built our own platform that's sort of a hybrid of Discord plus Zoom, where we can have the organization of the leagues plus a digital practice arena for the kids. And we've built this with regulations in mind. So COPPA is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. And we've built this by design to make sure that we we're building a responsible business that's also compliant to any of the regulatory mode that's out there. Now, there are customers. Leagues do exist, but where a lot of the leagues fail to build a solution for this problem is in the esports coaching and the youth development. So there's a number of competitors trying to solve this problem, but nobody tackling it in the same way that we are with the competitive leagues, the esports coaching, and that focus on youth development. Now, our business model is pretty straightforward. We have a system where we go directly to schools. They pay $180 per player per season. And we also have the ability to accept independent players who find us and stand up independent teams with a subscription model and a free community membership. We're also launching private coaching, where we have this unique opportunity to cross-sell private coaching to our players in the league. Now, this is the perfect time to get into esports. 5 years ago, this is a $91 billion market. Since then, 5 years later, it's doubled. We're at a $174 billion market, and that puts the industry at twice the size of music and film combined. We've also seen a level of mainstream acceptance where the viewership on the World Championship, for example, for League of Legends, was over 100 million viewers, which was higher than the Super Bowl in 2019. So it's a really massive market that continues to grow. 5 years later, it's expected to grow and double again, $315 billion. And so what we're seeing is a industry that is outpacing the growth of the infrastructure that's needed to make it sustainable. And so a company like ours needs to come along to build that infrastructure for sustainability and responsibility across that industry. And I got to say, we are the team to do that. We are the team to build this because we are seasoned business professionals. We are gamers and gamer parents. We are athletes, entrepreneurs, Army veterans. We have a team of 4 excellent full-time staff as well. And really, we are an operational and execution powerhouse. And we have been executing. We launched this fall. We did a series of betas for the leagues and the software over the spring and summer. And we have 6 paid private schools participating in our fall league, and over 45 schools in our pipeline for the winter. We've had a flood of coaches that have wanted to participate. We've turned this spigot off several times in order to just control the amount of coaches that we're vetting and training in our system. But this has been a really encouraging sign of all the people that want to get involved. We've also seen with some of our early revenue that we're able to take our business model and have a relatively low amount of users on the platform to drive very high revenues over the next 5 years. And I am proud and grateful to say that we've been able to raise $800,000 in our pre-seed previously. 50% of that was taken by Scout Ventures. And then I am also very happy to say that they are also leading our seed round. We're raising $2 million and should be closing early next year. So with that, I'll end here and take any questions that you may have.
Awesome job, Pat. Great progress and a great cause as well. Let's see what the panel has to say. What questions do we have for Pat? All right, Ayush, go ahead.
Hey, Pat. Great presentation. I had two quick questions. One, what are the games kind of on the platform that you're seeing the most traction with and engagement with? And then the second piece was, I noticed you don't have a technical leader on your leadership team right now. Is that part of the plan after you close the seed?
Yeah, so on the technical leadership side, we did just have a pretty big hire. We hired a first director of engineering, so we've been able to plug that hole. That was a well-known gap when we started. He's been great, and he's got a whole host of features that we're building. So we were able to take the engineering from offshore to in-house over the last month. On the game side, probably the one that everyone likes the most is Rocket League. We basically take the games that are the most popular esports games out there that have a real pipeline and have interest at the 9 to 14-year-old level. So we can source the coaches, we can build the curriculums, and then we can get them on the platform for the leagues.
All right, next question. Yeah, Steve.
Hi, Pat. Thanks for the presentation. Like the model, I've always felt that people neglect esports. My wife's an investor in Epic Games at her firm, so I've followed both the controversies and the success pretty closely. And I think there's an opportunity, and I wanted to see where your company's positioning it is. You're focusing on youth. when they start getting older, there's still a lot of like fantasy leagues and things like that. Like, is there the ability to then kind of stay with those customers or those players as they grow older, or are you just going to focus just on the youth leagues themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So we need to get a foothold and really dominate that youth space. But the plan is to grow with and age with that age demographic. We've had a lot of customers already that are sort of at that 14, 15-year-old age. Like, hey, when are you going to go to high school? Because
right.
my kid's about to age out, right? So that's in the roadmap to go up to high school and really become sort of an AAU type offering within the esports space, where we can kind of have an entire amateur offering at some point. So, but it'll be that sort of Harry Potter model where we launch a new book every couple of years. So that's the plan. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And yeah, Patrick, very cool. We're familiar with the space too, invested in one of your competitors at least. And I guess one of the questions I had was on how do you guys find and sell into this kind of like atomized customer set, whether that's individuals or schools?
Yeah.
What's your secret sauce?
Yeah, we've been experimenting. So we started with a lot of different channels, but we really focused on private schools for now because they have a little bit more control over their budget. They tend to be a little bit more innovative and able to act more quickly, so the cycle time is a little bit less. And really, it's been a ground and pound sales effort. We are beating down doors. We're talking to principals. We're talking to ADs, teachers, people, the science teachers, people have access to their computer labs. And then in conjunction with that, we do plan to do more larger regional and national level partnerships. That'll sort of be a combat multiplier to our sales efforts and direct efforts.
All right. Thank you, Pat. That was awesome. And thank you to our panel. This is our last cohort 13 presentation. So we will say goodbye to Steve and Aubrey, Ayush. Ash had to step out earlier. And thank them for paying attention for the last 2 hours to these amazing presenters and asking them very insightful questions. I hope that also helped our audience in understanding these businesses. So thanks again for joining us here for cohort 13. Next up, we're going to have our alumni pitches. So stick around. We're going to yet again reset our stage. We'll take just a couple seconds here, and then we'll bring you back onto the main stage, and you'll hear from 3 of our alumni companies. Hostfully from, I think, cohort 8, Appsurify, which was from our last cohort, cohort 12, and Beachly from cohort 9, I believe. So we'll see what kind of progress they have made. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back with our third and final session for today, which is going to feature some alumni company updates. These are going to be real quick, and then we'll get on to our networking lounge. So do stick around for that. The networking lounge is a lot of fun. All right, so first up, we're going to have Margot from Hostfully take the stage and run us through what she's been doing for the last 5 years. She said it's been 5 years since she was here. I cannot believe it's been that long. It's crazy.
I know. It's
Margot.
It's crazy.
Really, really, really. All right, go ahead and share your screen with us and take it away.
Here we go.
Looks good.
Thank you. Aloha, everybody. My name is Margot. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hostfully. We are disrupting professional short-term rental and vacation rental management with a B2B SaaS solution. It's been 5 years since we graduated from Blue Startups, and we've done a lot since then. Whether you look at our ARR, which grew from almost nothing to 1.6 million subscriptions. I'm sorry, this is just from the last 2 years after we pivoted, thanks to Shenoa. We grew revenue from 200 to 1.6 million, subscriptions from around 385 to 1664, or commissions, which went up to 50,000 per month. We've made a lot of progress in the last few years. We are solving a $330 billion problem in the short-term rental industry, and we're focused on this middle market of short-term rental property managers like Nick Halverson here, who sit in between the individual Airbnb hosts and the enterprise-scale property management companies like Vacasa and Sonder. And property managers like Nick are struggling with using spreadsheets and email to run their business. And it's a really complex MVP to build in this industry. And the reason why is because there are three stakeholders. There are property owners that want a return on their investment. There's the staff that want a fulfilling job. And there's renters who want a 5-star experience. And Nick is responsible for making sure all of these different stakeholders meet their needs every single day. Another problem that Nick has is that every reservation or booking requires hundreds of discrete actions to happen perfectly every single time. The guest messages need to be sent out at the right time, calendars need to be synchronized, pricing needs to be updated, the unit needs to be cleaned, restocked, and maintained, and any mistake leads Nick to a bad review, which leads to lost time, money, and a bad reputation. This is where Hostfully comes in. We are the central operating system for these short-term rental property managers. We offer Nick a central calendar where he can see all of his reservations, what channel they're from, and what gaps he might be able to fill. Payment processing so that he can get paid. This is for all the reservations that he's getting that are not on Airbnb, which include direct bookings and any reservation collected through Vrbo, Booking.com, or any of the other bookings platforms. And then also we offer automated messaging. So this is our updated unified inbox, which offers templates and triggers across SMS and also email. And it also works natively with Airbnb as well. Hostfully also has the leading guest guidebook application in the short-term rental industry. And if you knew us back in when we were in Blue Startups, this is kind of where we started. But now this app is integrated into our broader solution, and it offers local recommendation and information to the guest so that they can experience a great vacation or stay with the property manager. But the thing we're actually most proud of is that recently we became the only company in North America to have preferred partner status with Vrbo, Airbnb, and Booking.com. And just to kind of rewind again, when we were in Blue Startups, APIs did not exist with these companies. And so they've only been developed in the past few years. And we are so excited to be at the forefront of that technological development and innovation in the industry. On top of that, we were selected by Marriott Homes and Villas to be their first tranche of partners to work with. We've won, we're the back-to-back winner for Best Property Management Software by VRMB. Gartner Magic Quadrant put us #1 PMS in their first Magic Quadrant in Q4 of 2020. And we have amazing CSAT scores amongst our customer base. We make money on subscriptions, some commission and partner revenue, and onboarding and training. But at the core, we are a SaaS and commission revenue business. And what we're realizing is that the world has really changed in our industry, and we are here for it. There's a tidal wave of demand for short-term rentals that there's never been before. Airbnb has created an aspirational experience for short-term rental travel, which makes the suppliers in this industry have to kind of up their game to meet the customer needs. And the most important part for Hostfully is that we are at the dawn of the extensible technology in the short-term rental space. We're seeing a lot of movement, consolidation, and dynamic forces in effect that allow for us to be in the center as an open platform to be able to facilitate all of the revenue that is flowing through this industry to this target segment. Our team we're kind of jokesters, and we have a team of 40 people. These are investors and also team members. The most important thing to know about our team, though, is we dog food our own products. So we are active property managers ourselves. We find mistakes right before customers find them usually. But we also have a lot of empathy for our customers. So we know that a really small change can mean a big difference to them. On top of that, we are obsessed with culture. This is where I spend most of my time and energy. Over the last 3 quarters running, we have had a team NPS score of 100, which is a very difficult feat to accomplish, especially in today's day and age with a tight talent network or tight labor market. So today we're raising a $2.5 million round as an equity financing round. We are fully subscribed, but we love Blue Startups, and I'm so excited to be here. We're kind of at the tail end of the round, and I just thought I'd put it out there so that if angels or friends of Blue Startups that would like to participate, we'd love to hear from you. This is just a quick picture of our run rate revenue. This year alone, we went from 1 million to 2.2 million in September. So we are on a fast track to growth and expect to see continued acceleration next year. Mahalo, and thanks for having me here.
All right. Thank you, Margot. And in the small world facts, Margot is actually an advisor to Madi at Mount. So
Yes.
so excited we have another part of the family extension here between Margot and Madi.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we're going to bring Johnston with Appsurify to give us an update on Appsurify. They came through the all virtual cohort 12. I've never met Johnston in real life. Hi, Johnston.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's doing it again. Hang on 1 second for me. Text. Hang on, it just did it again to me. Notice I just restart it. I'll pull it up.
All right.
Okay. I should see it now. Great. I just had to do the same thing as yesterday. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. My name is Johnston Harris. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Appsurify TestBrain, where we're introducing intelligence into existing software test practices as they are today to simply make them faster and become smarter. And I always like to bring the conclusion up to the front for any company with software development, has software testing. And we're a plug-and-play tool that basically accelerates the time it takes for teams to complete their software testing by over 10x. We're able to reduce the amount of resources associated with running those tests by over 90% and ultimately increase developer output by over 30%. These are very bold claims and with the data to back it up, which is very encouraging. So the problem with software testing that we set out to figure out was when developers make changes to an application, quality assurance teams or testers don't know where that change was made in the application. If you look on the left-hand side, you see these red and yellow line, green and yellow lines. Those represent test cases representing certain pieces of functionality within the application. If a developer makes a 1 or 2% change, testers have no idea where that change was made. So testers have to run all these lines. And depending on the size of the application, that could take 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 2 days in a lot of cases, creating very long wait times, whereas developers are waiting for those test results so they can move on, knowing that they are creating bug-free software. Because the longer they wait, the more likelihood they are to create defects on top of defects. So by them having to wait around for test results is sunk time, is lost productivity. So that is not making developers very happy and it hurts productivity. So what we set out to do is, what if you just run the changes? Basically just run the tests associated with recent developer changes. And that's exactly what we've done is through Appsurify. So TestBrain, what we do is we leverage machine learning to determine the area of the application that has changed, and then automatically select and run just the few tests associated with that change area. So this pie graph on the right-hand side is a great visual representation of what we do. After 1 or 2% change, why test 100% of the pie when only a small slice has changed? Run a subset of tests, 5% or 10% of your tests, while still catching 99.9% of the bugs. If you run a subset of 10% of your tests, you're theoretically reducing the amount of testing by 90%, and you can get feedback into developers' hands in 90% less time. So what used to be an hour wait time of lost productivity per developer goes from 60 minutes down to 4 minutes. And that's what we're doing with our current clients and customers. Here's our sales funnel right now. It's very robust. Most of this is organic inbound. I'm very humbled by that. Forbes, Caterpillar, Trimble, Vonage, Deriva, 2 Degrees. Philips Healthcare is a current paying customer. We support their EMR platform, PICIX, Patient Intake Center. Johnson & Johnson has just hard committed to us for a trial, which is very encouraging. Here's our current investors to date. Panoramic Ventures, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're a $300 million fund specialized in DevOps tools. That's the industry vertical we fall under. They're early investors in Tricentis, Cypress, Cobiton, Catalan, all market leaders in the DevOps category in certain niches. And we're actually extremely complementary to these various different offerings that we can provide value to these end users. And we're actually being introduced at this time, which is very cool. We're also humbled and happy and proud to be part of the Blue Startups team. And then finally, Georgetown Angel Investor Network has recently come on board, which is great. Here's our current revenue run rate, revenue ramp for the next 2021 and outbound. And what we're doing is we basically close to finishing our round. We're about 55K short at a 515K raise and a $4 million post-money safe. So if anyone has any questions or was looking to get involved, happy to answer questions in the lounge. Thank you very much, Noah. Thanks.
All right, Johnston, thank you. And do look forward to meeting you in person one of these days.
Yes.
But great progress. And I know your co-founder, James, is in New Zealand. So you're an international team. That's pretty cool. All right, so our last update will be from Kevin at Beachley. Kevin, please take the stage. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, hello. All right. Let's do. All right, you got my presentation?
Looks good.
Perfect. All right, hey everybody, I am Kevin Tighe. I'm the founder and CEO of Beachly Brands. As Shanoa mentioned, I was part of cohort number 9, which took place all the way back in spring of 2017. So at Beachly Brands, our mission is to connect enthusiasts all over the world to the lives they aspire to live. And the way we're going to accomplish that is by taking an omni-channel approach to building a portfolio of subscription, direct-to-consumer, and retail brands rooted in beach, outdoor, and active lifestyle. So before I share more about my company, let's go over some recent highlights. So in the last 12 months, we've generated more than $9 million in revenue. We've shipped over 85,000 boxes containing more than 500,000 units of merchandise. In 2020 and 2021, we were named to Inc. magazine's Inc. 500 list, and we've been able to accomplish this while only raising $400,000 and with a lean team of 10 full-time and 6 part-time employees. So our flagship brand is Beachly. Since launching, we've become the leading subscription retailer of beach-inspired apparel, accessories, and lifestyle products. The way it works is a user comes to our website, they subscribe and fill out their profile. Every season, we send them a box of curated beach apparel and accessories with an average savings of 60% or more off retail price. A portion of proceeds from every box shipped goes to our partner Seatrees, and this year we are funding the restoration of 25,000 square feet of kelp forest here in Southern California. So under the Beachly label, we have an offering for women, men. We recently launched Beachly Beauty into beta, and we have a traditional e-commerce store, which is available to both members and non-members. However, if you're an active member, you get preferred pricing and early access to sales. So we have very strong member metrics. Currently, we're at about 24,000 active subscribers. Our projected average revenue per subscriber is over $750, which brings us to an LTV to CAC of 4, and that keeps growing. Our payback period on a new subscriber is about 6 months, and we're operating with about a 50% gross margin, but we do have a clear path to get that to 60% and above. Since launching in 2016, we've demonstrated rapid yet efficient growth. This year, we're on track to hit 10 million in sales, and we're preparing to lean into growth in 2022 and beyond. So the last 2 years has been extremely tricky for everybody, but it's also created a wave of opportunity for those that are well positioned in e-commerce and subscription, as well as brands that are focused on outdoor and active lifestyle, as participation rates are at all-time highs. Because of that, we are preparing to open a new round of funding. We'll be utilizing the funds to replicate our model in complementary markets. We'll be launching a suite of house brands, and then we'll be focusing on efficiencies, which will allow us to maximize growth and profitability. So if you're interested in learning more when we officially open the round or just want to chat, feel free to reach out. I also just set up the discount code. It's BLUE30 for anyone that wants to try it out. You'll get 30% off your first box. Thanks for having me, and thanks to Shanoa and the Blue Startups family for all they've done.
Ooh, discounts. I love discounts. All right, Kevin, thank you very much. And we'll have you step off stage. We're super, super thrilled with all the progress you've made and all the progress that all of our alumni have made. Wow. What an amazing portfolio that we've built over the years. We're so, so proud of the Blue Startups, Ohana, and all of the great work that they're doing. So this is the conclusion of our formal session. As I mentioned before, we have the networking lounge. So as soon as we end this session, you'll be kicked into the lounge. Please do stick around for that. It's really a fun space to get to know people more intimately, one-on-one. So every company that pitched today will have a table set up in the lounge. You can find them by their logo. So if you have more questions for them, or you're interested in talking to them, or you want to write them a $1,000,000 check, you can go sit down and chat with any of our founders here today, including the alumni that just gave us updates. So again, thank you all for tuning in today. I do hope next time we'll all be in person, enjoying each other's company in real life. But until then, stay safe. I want to give out big mahalos to my partners, Hank and Maya Rogers, to my team, Noah Williams, Tiger Tam, Ashley McShane. Couldn't do this without you guys, of course. To our partners, Tetris Company, the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation, Ulupono Initiative, Hawaii Angels, and Servco Brands, thank you for your support. And to my mentors, this, again, whole program is driven on mentor juice. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without my mentors, my lead mentors who've been amazing. Every team here got a one-on-one mentor opportunity throughout the whole cohort. And then, of course, the 160 mentors or so that we've interacted with. That really is our secret sauce. So thank you to all the mentors who have given us their time and commitment to this program. Super, super appreciate all of you. And to, of course, our investors. We wouldn't be able to run this program or invest in any of these companies without our investors first. So thank you again to Stafford Capital, to HTDC again, and to the many angels that have come into our Blue Ventures funds. All right, that concludes our formal session. Thank you all for joining us. Please hang out in the lounge. Mahalo.